Hello, and welcome to another episode of Creating Cultures That Outperform. I hope you're loving this AI series that we're on, and we're entering into a sub-series, which is going to be the enterprise-wide cost of AI transformation. And actually, we're opening with a slide here where I asked AI to talk about or to come up with a picture of a meeting that goes completely out of control because they're talking about the cost of transforming the enterprise with AI. And so you could see what Dolly came up with. Welcome. I'm Frank Wander. I'm here with my co-hosts George Pace and Terry Mays, and today we're going to be talking about what does trust cost. That's the episode. We're going to get into that. This is the first one in the series. It's the high level, and so let me get right into this. All right. Enterprise-wide AI transformation. So companies now are really in the experimental stage. And as they begin to shift from these experimental projects to the core business strategy, they're going to have enterprise-wide trust. There are a lot of different factors that enter into that. But what does it really end up looking like? I know, George, maybe you want to handle this.
Yeah, well, structurally, and this really feeds into the next slide, there is no singular trust thing. It's really going to become a trust ecosystem in a sense where you just can't pick and choose or what's the word? You can't cherry pick. I guess that's the word. You can't cherry pick what you're going to need to trust. As you're going to see on the next three slides, there's actually a series of components. Each have their own standalone attributes or issues that will form the foundation of trust that your organizational efforts will build off of.
Yeah, and this is a really important topic. The boards are going to want to know what is AI transformation going to cost. It's going to take many, many years. And so, we've taken a crack at that, and we're going to cover this in a series in much more detail. So today we're really doing the high level. When you look at this, you can see that on the left we have these 5 areas that underneath which all of it goes. And we're going to talk about those in great detail. So Terry, do you want to cover any of this?
Yeah. So, I like this looking like a wedding cake because trust really is like a marriage. It's building upon the foundations of a good culture that you have in your organization. And what you're doing is they're just laying on better layers on top of layers. I'm a sucker for a good caramel cake with layers when I was a little kid. Actually, in high school, one of my best friends, her grandmother used to make caramel cake every week.
Oh, I love it.
Made from scratch. And it was like 7 layers. So that's kind of what this reminds me of just kind of that sweetness that happens when you have an organization that's built on trust, when you have all the pieces, all the ingredients have come together very nicely, and people are able to truly have that enterprise-wide trust. And so when you have that trust, then now as the enterprise is trying to do this AI transformation, you're not struggling with trust while you try to do the transformation. You have that strategic trust. You've got the organizational trust. You've got the enterprise trusted data. You've got the technology trust. You've got the interpersonal trust. So now we're just bringing all that together to transform the entire organization. And it makes things move a whole lot smoother. Yes, there are going to be challenges. Absolutely, without a doubt. There are going to be some challenges. But if you're able to move as a unit together and face those challenges, you can see this golden place of enterprise AI transformation, that it's absolutely achievable when you've got the right piece parts.
Yeah, it makes a big difference, George.
Yeah, and I think the thing to focus on, though, is kind of the two sides of the coin, as it were, is even though you have all of those elements of trust on the left-hand side, there's going to be attributes. In the weeks to come, we're going to decompose these into the attributes. But understand, even if you were able to get everything on the left completed, the challenges ahead are one of the other subtopics here, in that, as Terry talked, if you have the pieces in place, it's going to make it easier. But as we know, change isn't easy. And the challenge is really going to be, how do you take all of these aspects of AI and the trust of AI, and at the same point in time, get past these, organizational roadblocks, shall we say, or the organizational, we've tried that, but it's not going to work, or, nobody told me to do this. That's going to be just as important, if not more important, than establishing the trust to really get to the transformation. So it's kind of an interesting balance between the two.
Yeah, it really is. And, I put this out there as a warning that most companies have really failed when it comes to digital transformation. They've received very little ROI. And that's because they didn't really look at it holistically. And in our next episode, we're going to be looking at strategic trust in detail. And that means that you trust the leaders to lead you into a great AI future. And there are a whole bunch of elements that have to be taken into account there. And we'll look at all of these. And I think the challenges are real, and they appear in every level of this.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, and actually,
every level. Yes, absolutely. Because there are people at every level of this organization. And as we know, it's just a challenge when you're dealing with other people. Everybody has a different perspective. You got different backgrounds. You got different upbringings. So everybody sees things a little bit differently. And the trick is going to be how can you get these people to come together at each of these steps and phases to work together and create some high performing culture.
And it's not explicitly stated here, but I'll state it. One of the things that is going to be impossible to do, read my lips, this will be impossible, is you're going to need an office, an AI office, an AI lead, I don't know what you want to call it, but somebody needs to be able to coordinate these efforts, because Terry was bringing this up, right? There's too many moving pieces. There's too many hands in the pie. If there is not a single person or team or whatever you want to call it responsible to drive this with the appropriate C-level support, it's not going to happen. So don't think you're going to do this in a building block fashion. Somebody needs to be providing that guidance.
Yeah, providing the guidance, but not taking ownership of what other people should be doing. And that's always one of the problems. You get these enterprise PMOs trying to run the projects instead of empowering, enabling, helping support them. I always get back to that. Harvard. Go on, Tara.
Well, no, I was just chiming in to say setting the standards, that's usually one of the pieces where we don't have real good standards. And so people just kind of go out and start doing their own thing.
Yeah. And, we know from, doing all these big transformations ourselves that, the nourishers and enablers that have to be in place for these teams that are doing this stuff to really pull it off, have to be taken into account. And that's a great thing to worry about enterprise-wide, because you're going to have the whole enterprise working on this. So this is going to be a really, really good series. And, this AI transformation enterprise-wide always begins with questions from the board. What kind of investment is this going to be? What's the strategy? Where are you going? So this is very top of mind in a lot of boards right now. And companies are wrestling with this because they're in the experimental phase. And they've got to quickly move into this next phase and start to nail down how they're going to approach this. George suggested we put this in a formula that we're going to use and evolve throughout this show as we get into the series. But you can see the total cost is going to be broken out based on all of these elements that we highlighted in that cake. And we're going to break them out in detail in the coming episode.
And full disclosure, this is evolving as we take a look at it. There will be hard and soft costs to this. I get it. Mm-hmm. I know that, traditionally people want to hear about all the hard costs, and I get it. I hear that message loud and clear, but there's also soft costs that are involved or will be part of this equation. Mm-hmm. The general idea is to take these major categories, explore the attributes within them, and begin to come up with what cost really means. So it should be interesting, because we've got some really good ideas kind of on the drawing board, and it's a matter of getting those ideas into this structure.
And the beauty of it is we've all been involved in enterprise-wide transformation. I've been involved in any number of times, turnaround transformations, enterprise-wide. George, I know you have. Terry, I know you have. So I think we're going to give you our best advice based on the experience we have. And as George says, this is going to evolve over time, because we're going to learn stuff as we dig deeper into this, without a doubt.
Not a doubt.
Our next show in the series is going to be the cost of strategic trust. We're going to look at that in detail. I think we're going to have a really good episode for you on that. Everything begins with a strategy. That's where the journey begins. Strategy, your plans, your organization, all of this stuff. And there's a lot more to it. We'll be talking about that in some detail. as this series evolves. And I actually went out to ChatGPT to try to get a funny ending here. And I asked it to come up with some one-liners in the style of Henny Youngman. And so why don't we each pick one of these? I'll start it off, our favorite, and we'll go through it. I love the first one. I told her AI to optimize the org chart. Now it's just a circle with me on the outside. Uh-oh. You know, George, what do you think?
Yeah,
What's your favorite?
I liked to, because for people I've always mentored, I say sometimes you learn more learning what not to do rather than what to do. So our strategic plan was so good, the AI used it to train itself on what not to do. That one just hits home.
It does. How honest, that really is what happens.
Yes.
Sarah?
And by far, my favorite one was number 9. We told the AI we needed alignment. It booked us for couples therapy.
Very good.
Very good.
Yeah, this is I was surprised. It actually came up with, I tried different styles of, jokes, and this was the best one, doing the one-liners. And it was pretty good.
I think so.
Yeah. And so, we're here every Wednesday at 3:00 with another live episode getting broadcast out. We're looking for feedback, by the way. When you see this, when this thing plays, we'd love to get your comments and suggestions. Did we miss anything? It's very important. We'd like to interact with the audience on this. So please, put some comments in. The three of us will respond to stuff. We're dying to get your feedback and make this actually a much, much better show. I think we've done 10 or 11 AI episodes now. I mean, we're really going deeper and deeper into this. So your feedback would be dynamite. But we're here every Wednesday at 3:00 next week. Course of Strategic Trust. We hope to see you there.
Yes. Bye for now.
Toodles.